Hey there, it's your girl Kim Brooks, national best-selling author, licensed minister, certified relationship coach, and I mainly inspire and encourage single women of God as it pertains to growing in their relationship with the Lord, growing in self-love, and also in their encouraging healthy relationships with others. Um, I've been doing these, well, this is my second commentary on Married at First Sight, and I just watched the episode. So, what I'll be doing is after I watch it, sometimes I catch a replay because I didn't get to watch it last night. Um, then I'll immediately record the commentary right after I watch it. So, that means for me, emotions are high because I'm thinking about the last thing I saw. And just a disclaimer, I realize with these reality shows, we only go by what we see because a lot of times they're edited and things like that. But I'm just responding to what I see on the screen because that's all we have, right? Okay, this episode, they called it Wigged Out. I called it Wigs and Digs. Wigs and digs because it was a lot of digging as far as just digging in each other. It was lacking encouragement. It was kind of a Debbie Downer episode, but I'm gonna share my thoughts and reflections and definitely comment your thoughts. And if you like what you hear, I'm gonna ask that you subscribe to my channel. So far, as far as commentary, this is the show that I'm doing every week so far, but the channel is mainly content that inspires single women of God. So if you're interested in that, I do a Bible study every Friday for singles called Friday Night Live. And I share a lot of content regarding singleness relationships. So subscribe to my channel and check the description box to see how you can connect with me and how you can read my books and support. So, all right, this episode, oh my goodness. I'm gonna start from the beginning and then I'm gonna work my way down. I do not look at the next week's snippet because I don't want that to tarnish my review of the current episode. And I have not watched the after party. I'll probably watch that after this. So starting out Married at First Sight, and I'm looking at my notes here. Lord, just like before I get into the notes, just like my thumbnail, these spouses are not they're not attracted. They're not attracted to their spouses. Contrary to popular belief, Austin is not attracted to Becca. Austin is not attracted to Becca. She's always initiating kisses. She's always in his face and googly eyes. She is obviously more into him than he is into her. He is more responsive towards her. I guess I'm getting ahead, but even when she's suggesting things, he's like, okay. I mean, he's just going along to get along. He's Mr. Nice Guy. And we know for some men, that's their whole persona. And especially with the films rolling, that's how he wants to be perceived. So he's going to go along to get along. And he's even going to ask questions to make it seem like he's truly interested. But in my gut, I don't feel like he is attracted to Emily. He even made some comments that made me kind of confirm that, which I'll get into. Brennan is not into, Lord help me with the names. Brennan is not into Emily. He doesn't like her. And so also Claire does not like Cam. The reason I'm saying this up front is oftentimes, whether or not you're physically attracted or even attracted to the other person, even if it's not physically, but just attracted in general, something that you genuinely like about the person where you can see yourself as their friend. When you are attracted to the person, that dictates how you treat them and also how you perceive them. And we're going to see in the case of Claire, how much grace you're willing to give to them. Because when you're physically attracted to someone, you give them a little bit more grace than if you were not. You give them the benefit of the doubt. And with these couples on this episode, it's like, where is the benefit of the doubt? It's lacking because they're not attracted to their spouses. Okay, so it opens up. Brennan and Emily, they're like, oh, we decided to move in with each other right away because Pastor Cal thought that would be a good idea. Okay, I have not seen every season of Married at First Sight, but I've seen a lot of seasons. And when did it become optional for them to decide if they move in after they get married? Isn't that part of the process? That's the part I'm getting confused, where as of late, couples are like, we're going to not move in together. What? That's not the way it goes. That's not what you signed up for. So they need to revamp that contract. Married at First Sight producers, make sure you put in there that if you sign up for this, you sign up to move in together. I don't understand, like, why all this, let's take some days off and I'm going to wait till my lease is up before. No. The process for Married at First Sight, you signed up to marry a stranger. That's what you signed up for. And then you go on a honeymoon right away. Then you move in together. So I just find it odd. They're like, oh, well, Pastor Kyle said we should, so we decided we're going to go ahead and do it. All right. So they're moving in and they're showing how, what's his name? Brennan is not helping Emily. I don't know why. I mean, he's just standing there. I mean, as a man, you're just standing there and you're letting a woman just carry heavy bags. I mean, her stuff is falling out and he's just standing there looking at her. And I forgot about her wrist, Lord. She brought that up later about how her wrist, she's still recovering from that. And I just found it odd that he didn't help her. Is this the same person that didn't help her in the airport? Or was that Claire and Cam? I can't remember. But yeah, he didn't help her. And I thought that was whack. So they show that. And then he's like, well, I only have 2 things and you have 18. I mean, he said that like 5 times. I'm like, okay. And like, it's an apartment. Like, who cares? That's the thing. With marriage, with relationships, the biggest thing that you have to be willing to do with each other is to have acceptance. Everyone is not like you. You're not marrying yourself, and you're not the standard. How you think, how you feel, how you act, how you behave, how you live is not how everyone should be. And I feel like Brennan is like this, and I feel like Claire is like this. Nitpicking poor Cam, everything he does, it's like, oh, I would do this, and why would you do this? I mean, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hold off on Claire because I got a lot I want to share about that. So I'm gonna hold off on that. Okay. Oh, so actually the next they do show them next. So Claire and Cam, I guess they're moving in, and she said more than once, and this is how I know she's not attracted to him. She said more than once, the foundation for attraction to grow. This can be a place where the foundation for attraction can grow. So she's like, okay, moving in, we'll get to know each other. We can build a foundation to grow, foundation for attraction. So she already said it. She is not attracted to Cam. However, he is attracted to her. He likes her a lot. I mean, she's beautiful and she's smart, so he is really into her. Now, I think Cam is decent looking, but he has a different personality that she's not used to. Sure, his personality is not like you and your friends, but he's still, what I like about Cam and people who are comfortable with being themselves is that's just who they are. Take it or leave it. They're not being fake. They're not putting on airs. That's just who they are. So for whatever reason, Claire is not into Cam. Even with him bringing her the whole bushes when he brought the bushes that time, the last couple episodes ago. She was, she gave him that church hug on the side. She's not into him. And then they show her going his job, taking him half a sandwich, talking about she ate the other half. What? Talking about, I'm about to surprise him and bring him some food. I'm thinking she about to have a whole meal, and she got a little baggie. Talking about, I ate the other half of the sandwich. You told me you wasn't hungry. So I said, Lord have mercy. So they're showing that, okay, so Claire's trying. She's trying. So she takes the sandwich to his job. She sees where he fixes bikes. And she asks him, now I do like the fact that she asked him about what he does, because they say for men, they put a lot of pride in what they do for a living. I mean, no matter the occupation, especially when you're passionate about it. And you could tell that Cam is very passionate about fixing bikes. I mean, he even compared it to a doctor and surgery. So he really takes it seriously. He was saying like every different bike is like a patient and you never know how to fix it, but you just got to figure it out. So I like how Claire was listening to him. And I think she did like the fact that he was passionate about it. And then he's like, I was like, oh, this is all probably production's idea. Because he's talking about, well, I want you to help me fix a bike. I'm like, okay. So she puts on the jacket and she, helps him fix the bike. So I thought that was cute. I thought it showed like team effort. I thought it showed she was trying, because that's the thing. And I wanted to share this in this video. See, the difference is with men, the difference between men and women, if a woman is not initially attracted to a man, she can grow into that attraction over time. Different things he may say or do or prove himself to be, and his demonstrated affection toward her. You know how a lot of women be like, oh, he grew on me, or he chased me down. Oh, I love him now because blah, 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 blah. Whereas in the beginning, I wasn't even attracted to him. He's not my normal type. How many times do we hear that, ladies? But in many cases, those are the relationships that work, especially when they get married, because you want the man to be, as our grandma say, a little more into you than you are into them. And so I feel like with the Claire and Cam dynamic, hopefully she'll give it a chance, because Cam is willing to do whatever it takes to make it work with Claire because he's really into Claire. I'm just hoping and praying that Claire has an open mind to see that and to at least try to make it work outside of her limited thinking of how things should be. Yes, she's a therapist. Yes, she's intelligent. But when it comes to relationships, you have to be willing to be open-minded about certain things and really get to know the other person and be accepting of the other person. Just because he's different and maybe his personality, the way he speaks, the way he interacts with people, he seems more introverted. So that doesn't mean something's wrong with him or he's weird, and that's, people have to understand that. We're all different. And so I just hope she comes to get to know him more genuinely. But it does look like she's trying. So I'm happy about that. Okay, so we talked about the job. And then I said she was a trooper. Yes, she was a trooper. Okay, so next we have Becca's friends show up for her birthday lunch. Oh my goodness. This is how this is one of the signs that that Austin is not that into Becca. So Becca's friends are asking, okay, how are things going? And then it goes, oh, are y'all having sex yet? That just cracks me up when they have the friends just bust out with the question. I mean, they have it like is it at the wedding where they be like, oh no, they'll be like, oh, you're gonna have sex tonight? You're gonna have sex on your wedding night? That's production. So the friends are asking, have they slept together yet? And Becca's like, no, we're gonna go at his pace. And I think the friends kind of knew. something was they're like, what? Like the looks on their faces was like, okay. But notice how Becca and Emily are the ladies that want to sleep with their husbands, but the husbands are hesitant because they're not into them. And that's the thing. Austin is not sexually attracted to Emily. They could be best friends. They could laugh. They're going to watch Netflix, but they're not going to chill like the culture talks about Netflix and chilling, because he sees her as a friend only. I mean, they can make it seem like it's more. I mean, he's doing a great job of being polite throughout the process. He's not into her like that. Otherwise, he would have slept with her. It's day 16, for goodness sake. And they're legally married. So they should already have slept together. They haven't, because he's not attracted to her like that. All right. So yeah, so now it's day 16. And let's see. I talked about that. Oh, I want to bring up, so Lauren and Orion, I like how they showed their friends. To be honest, though, I don't even want to see Orion's face anymore. I mean, I'm tired of his face. I'm tired of his little light, airy voice. I don't want to hear from Orion. I'm done with him. So he and his friend talk. Next, okay, Lauren talks to her brother and her sister-in-law, and I love her sister-in-law. She was just breaking it down to Lauren, because I can tell, I definitely can relate to Lauren. She's kind of like what I used to be. I'm a delivered people pleaser, and when you're a people pleaser, your goal is to make the other person happy. And when you don't, you almost feel like you haven't done your quote unquote job, and you take it personally, and you internalize in someone else's how they view you. And that comes from lack of being fully leveled up in self-love. Like I said, I can totally relate to Lauren. I used to be her. I'm thankful for being delivered from that, because now I realize that it's not my job to make someone else happy, and my actions are not always going to please someone else, because my job isn't to please I'm not put on this earth to please others. I'm put on this earth to be, to exist, to live, to breathe. So if how I am existing is bothering you, then you may not be the one for me. So I feel like with Orion, whatever, he was bothered by how Lauren chose to exist, how she chose to be. She mentioned how, and I feel I really want to pray for Lauren, because I feel like she blames herself a little bit, because she was saying things like, when I'm nervous, I laugh. So I really feel like she really was hard on herself by the way that reacted to her not understanding his culture when she laughed. And like I've said in the other commentary I did before last week, because her intention is never, and that's again, people pleasers, our intention is never to hurt. Our intention is never to hurt or offend. That's like the opposite of what we would ever want to do to someone, especially in Lauren's case, somebody you just married, just getting to know. So that's not her heart intention. So that's why I feel like he should have given her more grace. But with Lauren, because he reacted that way and because he kept not forgiving, it made her feel like, and go back and be like, well, maybe I shouldn't have laughed, because that's what I normally do when I'm nervous or when I don't understand something. So now she's blaming herself and how she exists and how she processes things. When she explained to him, because all you have to do is communicate, okay, I should not have responded that way. Normally, if I don't understand something, I default to laughter. I should not have. Once she did that, that's all. It's his choice to forgive his wife. And like I said before, most of my friends are married, and they say forgiveness happens daily. It's a daily thing. Just like the sister-in-law said, if you don't know how to forgive your spouse, you may as well hang it up. It's a requirement in the marriage, because especially when you have two different genders, you know, like that old book from back in the day, Men from Venus, Women from Mars, or reverse, or I mean, we're totally different. Our being and our existence are so opposite that there's gonna be misunderstandings. And so that's where you have to have that grace and forgive each other. So I just pray that Lauren forgive herself and that she not internalize anything or blame herself. But like she said, she felt like the sister-in-law kind of gave her the validation she needed to feel like she doesn't have to personalize it. So I just pray Lauren gets to that place eventually where she doesn't even need validation for someone else, but that she knows on the inside that as long as her, and this is what I had to learn as a former people pleaser, as long as your intentions are pure-hearted, with you don't want to offend, as long as your intentions are pure-hearted, you cannot control how someone else receives you, receives your actions, responds to you. You can't control that. All you have the freedom to do is be, is exist. And so I pray Lauren gets that, and that she continues to level up in that self-love and who she is. Because that whole, she deserves a second chance. You know, just like Paige and some others. I can't remember her name. The runner, the tall, slim runner with that jerk. He was so horrible. Some maths people, Married at First Sight people, deserve a second chance. And Lauren is definitely one of them, because it wasn't fair. He didn't even fight for the marriage. He didn't even, I mean, it'd be different if they were just dating and you just decided to part ways. This is a whole marriage that they signed up for. And he just gave up. And then I heard in the last after party, he said he was trying to reach out to her afterwards and talking about he was missing her. I am so thankful she did not respond to him. I'm sure she had closed that chapter, that she is done. So that's good that she enforced that boundary, because he no longer has permission to put her on that roller coaster that he had her on. He had her on an emotional roller coaster. She broke it down in this episode. She was talking about how she felt angry, upset, sad, He put her on all those different emotional roller coaster rides. And he who controls your emotions controls you. I'll say it again. He who controls your emotions controls you. And that's something else I've learned, is to not allow another person to control my emotions. So I'm so glad she got delivered out of that situation. He did her a favor when he divorced her, because she definitely deserves better than him. All right. So we talked about that. Let's see. I think I'm on the back of my notes here. Oh, Lord. So now we're at the different parties where the friends are coming. And I believe we're at Claire and Cam's place. And it was starting out, I guess Claire is blowing balloons, and it was something in the balloons. What was in the balloons? Because if y'all know in the comments, can you comment what was in the balloons? Because I don't know. It was something that Cam was like, oh no, let me get away from these balloons. Because if they pop something, that probably will be messy. But so I guess Claire was saying she's preparing the decorations to get things ready, and Cam was supposed to bring the food. Now, they didn't. Now, here's the thing. This is what when I say editing, this is what I mean. Claire mentioned that she was under the impression that Cam was supposed to bring the food, but we don't know as the viewing audience if Cam specifically had that understanding. That's what I mean by editing. Because he comes in there, her first thing is, where's the food? So now the viewing audience is assuming that was his whole mission to go out. And she's like, well, you had one job. And he could have been thinking, okay, the party is in a few hours. I don't have food yet. Because guess what? When they later get the food, they get it too early and the food gets cold and the oven barely working. So they should have got it closer to the time anyway. So we don't fully know how that whole conversation went and if he really dropped the ball on bringing the food. So he comes in, he notices that she's bothered because he doesn't have the food. And that's the thing. Again, when you're not attracted to someone, you look for excuses to not like them even more, because you just adding to a laundry list of, you're trying to convince yourself that this person isn't the one, this person isn't going to work out, because you're not physically attracted. You don't like what you see. So you're trying to like come up with excuses to say, aha, aha, they ain't the one. Aha. I used to do that. Decent men, nice men, they like me more than I like them. But because I wasn't physically attracted, I was coming up with all these excuses. So I shared things as a warning to younger people to not do what I did. And I'm seeing Claire is doing that very same thing. And I know a lot of us as women, we do it. And when we do that, we pass up great potential husbands, or in Claire's case, a great husband. And I hope they don't, divorce at the end. We'll see. But it's clear that she's not into him that way. I don't think she's physically attracted to him. I don't think she's sexually attracted to him. So she's just nitpicking. Like he made a comment about, I'm on two hands as far as the number of times I've messed up. So she doesn't like him, and she's mad that he doesn't have the food. And she's like, I like to plan. I like to prepare, and we're not prepared. And so she's all upset. And I know Kim is like, okay, like I can't win for losing. That's how, when I look at Kim sometimes, it's like he looks like I can't win for trying. I can't win for losing. Like every 5 minutes you are upset at me about something. And that's the interesting thing with Claire. It's like, why is she always mad at him? Even for things she learned about him that's very personal, instead of bringing up the personal thing and seeing how he feels about it, she's like, why did you do that? That's just so stupid for you to bring that up. It's like, what? So we're going to get to that part. We haven't quite gotten there, but I did have some thoughts on that because that was ridiculous. Okay. Let's see. So she was, okay. So Becca and Austin. Now, Becca mentioned how they're building a solid friendship. Yeah, they are, because that's all they're going to be, friends. He is not interested in her sexually. Now, I did consider maybe he wants her as a beard, because he gives me those vibes. If you know, you know. He gives me those vibes, especially when the friends came. I was like, maybe now if she's a beard, then there doesn't necessarily have to be sexual attraction if she's a beard. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Or is that a reach? Y'all think that's a reach? Okay, so Becca, they keep talking about religion. I don't know why they keep pushing this religion stuff about he's a Christian. And it sounds like he's just a Christian in title, because his friends were like, well, he doesn't really live, he doesn't even really like live his life based off of it. He just brings it up here and there. So, I mean, I don't even see why it keeps coming up. I mean, are they trying to make it into something? Because I can't remember what Becca's religion is. I think to me, she gives me more spiritual than anything else. And then with Austin talking about, being a Christian, I mean, I just think they're just trying to conjure up drama in their storyline for no reason. I mean, it's not really drama. Like, he's not really like out here like Billy Graham or anything. He seems pretty open-minded, and, they're getting along. And like I said, between the two of them, that's what they do. They get along, she'll kiss him, he'll kiss back, Oh, that was the comment. I just thought about the comment he said when she was with her friends. He said something about, yeah, her big eyes. I'm like, what? No, he not like digging, doing a little dig at her eyes, talking about her big eyes. He didn't say it like a compliment. So that when I heard him say that, I was like, yeah, I don't think he's attracted to her. What y'all think? Share you in the comments what y'all think about that. So yeah, so another thing about the religion thing, like I just wanted to share because I am a Christian. I love Jesus. However, I consider myself more about having a relationship with God more than like religion, as far as religion being based on tradition and things like that. So I think what Becca is saying is she's finally met a Christian that's not religious, but that, is accepting and open-minded about differences. Because I have, as a Christian, I believe what I believe. However, if you believe differently than I believe, I'm not gonna, view you as any less of a human being or a more inferior human being because you don't believe like I believe. Now, I will share my faith, and we will, even if we're kikiing or whatever, you're gonna know where I stand. And for me, oftentimes, just that approach alone opens a door to me to even share and ask, hey, would you like to receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior? I did that, I think it was a couple weeks ago. And I was at a restaurant and met a nice waitress. She was so sweet. I was reading and getting some stuff done. And we just chatted about everything, life, relationships, love. And it was so cute. I mean, we really connected. And by the end, I shared with her my faith. I was led to give her one of my books. And I asked her, I said, would you like to receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And she said, yes. I said, it's a prayer. So she said, okay. And we prayed right there in the restaurant. So I think that's what Becca is probably experiencing, is a non-judgmental Christian in Austin. So yeah, we do exist, Becca. We do exist. All right. So now we're gonna go to the pate, the wig pate with Emily and Brennan. Now, I thought that was cute, to have the different color wigs, but those wigs look crazy. Those neon colored wigs. And that friend of hers that had that green neon wig, that thing looked crazy. The part was part and it was in the middle. It was a hot mess. Oh, those wigs look so funny. The guy that had the wig that looked like a lion. I was like, what is going on? And then they kept talking about tiny hands. Y'all, I don't know what tiny hands are. I even tried to Google. It didn't tell me. It said something about puppets. So if y'all know, please let me know in the comments. What are tiny hands? What's the significance? Does it have something to do with drinking? Because I don't know. I don't know nothing about tiny hands. So, and the lady's like, oh, you got tiny hands. So let me know. Because I don't know. So yeah. So Emily's friends come in. What was the one? Alexis or Alex. And it was funny because you could tell that Brennan and Alex got off on the wrong foot in the beginning when he was kind of like making a dig at her when she said something about the wigs. And he was like, oh, come on, Alex. It's just to have fun. Don't you want to have fun? What is it with Brennan in this having fun thing? Like, what is going on? So I think that might have rubbed her the wrong way in the beginning, because who talks to somebody's friends like that when you just meet them? I mean, that should be when you're trying to win them over or impress them or at least be nice. Like, what in the world? And that's the thing. That's the challenge with Brennan. He is so far removed from being. We talk about existing and being. He don't want anybody to even know who he is. And his default is rudeness, arrogance. I mean, you're meeting for the first time your new wife's friends. I mean, sure, they may have come at her, especially the little one, the little feisty one, Alex, came at him. Yes, she was barking at him. Yes, she was not, it did seem like Emily may have shared some things with them the way they were coming at him. But his response should be to diffuse the situation because they're friends of hers. You're trying to impress a little bit. I mean, even if later you like, okay, what was that? But you don't want to do energy for energy in that case. I mean, at least that's me. I guess maybe that's the Libra me. We like to be cordial and polite. We like peace. We don't like drama. So maybe that's that part of me coming out. But the way Brennan handled that was horrible. Absolutely horrible. I agree. He was closed off. He was condescending. He was arrogant. He was flippant. He was not considerate of the fact that they were, the one Alex kept saying, we're her best friends. If she said we're her best friends one more time, she kept saying it. All they wanted him to do was understand that they're looking out for their friend. So Brennan, your job in that situation was to give them reassurance. Reassurance that you're in it for the right reasons. And even though you may not be all the way there yet with Emily, at least you're trying and you're going to give it a chance instead of some crazy responses talking about, now the one friend was like, okay, she's all in, which I believe Emily is. I like Emily. She's very sweet. I like how she was so excited about her friends coming over. She is really giving 110% towards this process. And so the friends, they probably know how she is, and they probably are trying to protect her heart, her little heart, because it just seems pure, like she really wants it to work. And it seems like if it doesn't, it could be broken. And that's what good friends do, is they are like protectors. They're a shield of protection, especially with someone like Brennan, who's not open. He's not making clear his intentions. He's not even answering basic questions. I mean, the last episode when Emily was like, are you attracted to me? And he wouldn't answer. And it's almost like it's almost like he doesn't have respect for other people, because he's like, I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe anybody any answers or explanations if I don't feel like it. Like, he gives me a lot of feminine energy, to be honest. The way he responds and reacts, he gives a lot of feminine energy. He doesn't want to help Emily with her bags because he's probably thinking in his mind, you brought too much stuff anyway. He doesn't want to answer his friends because he feels like, who are they for me to give them my energy? I mean, he's definitely not alpha male. Definitely not. And he's not a nice person. And you know what's interesting? You know how you are, if you're single, you're believing God for a mate. And this is something the Lord had to show me when you have your list, that you have to put on there. I have to put on there that he is kind. That he is kind. Because I've dated men who were not kind. They were buttholes. So that's what I feel with Brennan. He's not a kind person. And the way he was talking to Emily's friends was borderline giving me angry man. I put that in the notes. He was giving me angry man. Like, if the cameras weren't there, he would have been going off on them, standing up in their face, probably trying to start something. Because that's how he comes across. He feels like every person that asks him a question is like an enemy trying to attack him. So the only people, thank you, Holy Spirit. The only people who respond that way when you ask them questions are people who have something to hide. The only people who respond that way, all defensive, all angry, all da-da-da-da, instead of just being forthright and honest, are people who have something to hide. I know from experience with that as well. So as her friends, they're like, wait a minute. You're not being forthright. You're not even want to explain. I mean, what did he say? Well, I did say, I mean, come on. When you think about it, okay, let's talk about this for a minute. And this, I thought this was going to be short, but this might be long. When you think about it, if someone asks, why did you decide to get married? Or why did you need married at first sight? Or why did you decide to do it? And your response is, I got tired of coming home alone. That is not a reason to have a whole nother human being in your life. When you get married, I mean, I guess I'm old school. I still believe that, like the word talks about, it's a covenant between two people. The two become one in the sight of God, in the sight of man, witnesses. And your aim as a married couple is to understand and become more one with each other as you grow together, as you learn your wife, as she learns her husband. And that's why the word of God, I believe, is the blueprint, because it talks about these things. It talks about the sacrificial love that a man is to have for his wife, to love her like Christ loved the church. And it talks about the wife, how she is to respect her husband and be toward her husband. And it's about the two people coming together and how they should coexist. So a person that desires marriage, you have to know that marriage is more than just having a warm body to have in your bed, because that's a whole nother human being. It's a whole nother person with a destiny. It's God's child, and you have to live together. You have to get along. You have to want to learn each other, coexist in a way that your lives intertwine. So it's, to me, I mean, I know some people may not view it that way, but I view it as a red flag if someone says the only reason they want to get married is because they get tired of coming home to an empty house. And I typically hear that more from men. And okay, if that's their motivation to get married, you know, a lot of men don't want to commit. So if that's their motivation to get married, but don't let it be your only motivation. You have to realize that marriage takes work. It's not just, okay, now we're married. Oh, you're getting on my nerves. Oh, you know, it's like, what in the world? Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So we talked about Brennan. Oh my goodness. I got to bring up this comment he said. So when he was talking to the friends, and the friend Alex was checking him about not helping her with her bags, he said, if this were real life. Uh-oh, not Siri. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Hello, Siri popping up. No, Siri. Okay. He said, if this was real life, he said he would help her if this was real life.
I couldn't find real life in your Apple Music library.
Oh, Lord, Siri. I'm not talking about you, Siri. So that threw me off. And even the friends were like, what do you mean if this were real life? He views this whole thing as a game, y'all. He keeps talking about the cameras, the filming. Y'all don't, I mean, when you get married, Brennan, you don't sign a fake marriage certificate. It's real. It's a real marriage certificate. If you decide at the end of 8 weeks that you don't want to be married anymore, it'll be a real divorce. And they were talking about some of the couples from Married at First Sight where it took 1 or 2 years for it to be finalized. So it's the real deal. And how disrespectful is that for him to even comment if this were real life? So because you don't feel it's real life, she doesn't deserve to have help with her bags? Because it's a fake marriage? Yeah, Brennan need Jesus. Brennan need Jesus. And then he was getting so upset. I think, now mind you, the friends, they were letting him have it. I mean, they were making some comments that I would find questionable as well. But his reaction Brennan lacks awareness with his crazy reactions. And one of the friends mentioned that. The other one with the crazy neon wig, she was like, your reactions are just I love how she said it too. She was like, your reactions are just And I agree, because I have here when he said something like, I think they said, it's like he doesn't like to be criticized, and no one likes to be criticized, but he takes it to another level if he's criticized. Like he ready to fight. You gonna criticize me? So he said something, they said, and his response was, should I just quit now? What? Ain't nobody talking about you quitting. What? Should I just quit now? So yeah, I don't know. Some people, you want to be like, who raised you? Who raised you? So I don't know. Okay. So that whole thing didn't go well. And then I think later he mentions it to Emily, and she kind of apologizes on their behalf, which she didn't have to. She didn't have to. And the challenge that I have with Emily is I don't know if it's because he scared her, and unfortunately people with Brennan's personality type, they will sometimes purposefully make a mountain out of a molehill as a way to silence their partner so that they never speak up again about anything, because it's like a way of training. It's almost like a way of training them to not say anything, because remember how I responded last time? So I think that's what's happening with Emily, because ever since he got so upset on the honeymoon when she brought up something about, do you like to have fun? And he was like, what do you mean do I have to like to have fun? It was like ever since then, she doesn't really say anything. She doesn't speak up anymore. So when he wasn't helping her with her bags, all she had to do was say, babe, can you give me a hand? Can you help me with these bags? Can you help me? I mean, she waited and that's what happens. You don't say anything right away. So now she's blurting it out to her friends at the dinner. Like, well, I had to get my bags myself with my wrist hurting. So now, of course, your friends are going to come back like bulldogs after she done blurted that out. So if she would have just said that, while it was happening, then he would have had an opportunity to make the adjustment, get a helper, and that would be her way of letting him know her expectations, instead of him always telling her how she should act and what her friends should say and how this made me feel. Emily should also have freedom and being able to share some things and point some things out so he'll know what she expects. As a minimum level of courtesy, being that's your wife, she got all these bags, and yes, she got a lot of stuff, but help out. So, all right. Claire and Cam. Okay, so they had their dinner, and to me, their party was the most boring, but they didn't have a lot going on with their party. Let's see. The friends were kind of like, how's the relationship going? And okay. This was the part that was kind of crazy. So I guess Cam was like, oh my goodness, all of Claire's friends are her therapist colleagues. I can't even imagine how, all of her friends do the same line of work as she does. They must be a part of an organization or something. And that's probably how they met or something, because how all of them therapists. So, but Cam didn't seem too bothered by it. He actually seemed open-minded, like, okay, maybe I'll get some tips, So in the beginning, as soon as they're seated, he meets them, and, Cam, he really tries to kind of fit in socially, and, so the friend, now I thought it was kind of odd for the friend to bust out and say, how's your father? Now, I guess some may say that she was joking because they're therapists and they had brought up the fact, oh, they're all therapists. And maybe she wanted to kind of give an example of bringing up how therapists kind of go into your childhood and find why you are the way you are and all that stuff. But I thought that was odd. Like, because as a viewer, we knew that Cam had friction with his dad. And for her to say that, I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, did Claire share with her friend about his dad and now she's kind of like bringing it up? So when he elaborated and was like, well, he doesn't know, he's really sick, I was like, oh my goodness, I felt bad, for him. But the part that I thought was crazy, and y'all let me know in the comments, Claire, she got upset with him because he hadn't shared that information with her prior to him sharing it in public with friends. What? Claire, where is the empathy, ma'am? Where is the empathy? You so focused on image and how stuff looks. The fact that he shared something personal to your friends that you didn't know. So you're upset because you didn't know sooner. But just like he kind of said quickly, he said, you never asked me. I mean, sure, they kind of talked about it briefly during the wedding, but they never had deep conversations about their family dynamic. So for Cam, when the young ladies mentioned it, I felt like he sees that as an open door. So he shared what he wanted to share. And after the party, it got on my nerves when Claire, because I'm not a fan when people are trying to tell people how they should be in a relationship with them, how they should exist, what they can and can't say, what's acceptable or not. Nobody's anybody's parent in a relationship. And I feel like with Claire, she focuses more on course correcting every 5 minutes than cultivating a possibility of a loving relationship with a man who is truly into you. So when Claire was like, oh, I just found it odd that you shared that with strangers or with my friends, and I never knew. What? The man just shared with you. You said you didn't know his father was sick. Why not lead with that? I'm sorry your father's sick. I didn't know. I'm sorry he didn't know about the wedding. How's that going? And then if you want, throw in, okay, going for it, babe. I would love for us to discuss that, personally during pillow talk. But there was no empathy. And that's mind-boggling to me. And that's something that some of us do in relationships is we are so focused on how stuff makes us feel and what we think should happen, what should be said, that we forget that on the other end is a person in pain. He is obviously in pain. The fact that he even saw that as an opportunity to spill his heart about his dad to therapists, which he knew they were therapists and he was open to them being there. He's in pain. And how could she not have seen that as a therapist? So I guess sometimes as therapists and coaches and all that, we do well coaching others, but we fail sometimes with ourselves. And I believe the reason is it's our gift. When your gift is to help others, you are able to see others and what they're dealing with and process it on the outside looking in. So I'll give Claire that benefit of the doubt, but I pray she watches back these episodes and see how she comes across, because I don't think she realizes how she comes across. I think she feels like she's 1,000% in the right, and she's not. So, I mean, I just feel like Claire and Cam, out of all of the couples, I feel like they're the only ones that have an opportunity, a shot at staying and being a lasting, loving relationship, having kids and all that. But Claire just has to, you know, really see beyond his faults or her perceived faults of him and focus on growing in connection with him. So, oh, I had in the notes, I think Claire is self-sabotaging. I think she knows deep down he's a good man and that he's really into her. But she keeps coming up with these excuses and she tells her friends stuff. And I think she's self-sabotaging. It's something within herself that is trying to push him away or that she doesn't feel worthy. And I understand that. I've done that a lot. So that's why I think she's doing it. I think she's self-sabotaging. All right. So now we're almost, let's see. Claire and Kim. They did. Oh, this whole religious stuff. Then they tried to bring that up again with Claire and Kim. And Claire is trying to make that a big deal. Like I said, she's trying to look for stuff. So this is something else she's digging up. And she's trying to make it a big deal that he doesn't want his children to be raised with a belief system, which I understand that being a concern, especially if you're a believer, have strong faith. But my question is, I believe the experts ask the contestants how they feel about religion and whether or not their partner had the same faith or not. I believe they go over that. So if she says she doesn't mind his faith and all that, then they gotta come to an agreement on that. But I think that's something that can be discussed. I don't think that's a deal breaker, but like I said, because Claire is looking for so many excuses to add to why she doesn't like him because she's not physically attracted to him. This is yet another thing she's bringing up so she can, you know, if she decides to divorce him, she could say, oh, here's the list. Here's the list of reasons why I don't like you, you know, instead of just saying, I'm just not into him. All right. So I have here Austin and Becca. What is this? Into she likes him. Oh, I just said I think for their party, the charcuterie board, and it was cute, you know. Had her friends over, and I guess afterwards they were kind of talking about some things, and she's kissing on him, and he's like responding, and then she's like, "Oh, that was so fun. We should do it again." And he's like, "Okay." She was like, "Tomorrow." And he was like, "No, let's wait." And then she was like, "What about the next day?" And he was like, "Sure." I'm like, "Oh Lord, here he go, going along to get along, Mr. Nice Guy, Austin." So yeah, so that's pretty much what I have. Yep. So we went over everything in my notes. So share your thoughts, comment, and I will look at all of them. Again, you can connect with me in the description. You can see my links to my private Facebook group, Single, Saved, and Celibate with Kim Brooks, 35,000 strong, women of God, and also Leveling Up While Single and Saved with Kim Brooks and Friends, where we level up spiritually and also in our wealth and relationships, self-love. I have a residential therapist in the group, a residential financial coach in the group that shares twice a week regularly. And then, of course, I share as well, ministering on relationships, self-love, all that good stuff. I am the author of the novel, He's Fine, But Is He Saved?, which recently was a very successful stage play production here in the Detroit area. And I also have 2 other novels, and I also have nonfiction books as well for singles. So check that out. Subscribe to my emails for free at kimontheweb.com. You'll get a free ebook. Get it while I'm offering the full book, because for the new year, I'm going to make some changes. So get your full copy of my book, Singles Overcome. You'll get that immediately once you subscribe to my websites for my emails. So kimontheweb.com. All right. Subscribe to my channel. Share your comments. Follow for more. Thanks for listening. And as I always say and will continue to say, be and stay encouraged. Peace.